This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets.
Oil futures edged up on Wednesday as Iran suspended cooperation with the UN nuclear watchdog and markets weighed expectations of more supply from major producers next month while the US dollar softened further. Brent crude added 56 cents, or 0.8%, to $67.67 a barrel at 0934 GMT, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude rose 53 cents, or 0.8%, at $65.98 a barrel. Brent has traded between a high of $69.05 a barrel and low of $66.34 since June 25, as concerns of supply disruptions in the Middle East producing region have ebbed following the ceasefire between Iran and Israel.
U.S. liquefied natural gas exports fell to their second lowest monthly level for the year in June, as maintenance work at some of the country's largest export facilities hurt output, according to preliminary data from financial firm LSEG. The United States, the world's top exporter of LNG, sold 8.4 million metric tons of the supercritical gas during the month, down from 8.9 MT in May and well below April's record of 9.3 MT, LSEG data showed. The reduction in LNG exports was primarily due to seasonal maintenance, including at Cheniere's 4.5 billion cubic feet per day Sabine Pass facility in Louisiana and its 2.4 BCFD Corpus Christi plant in Texas.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
India's renewable power output rose at its fastest pace since 2022 in the first half of 2025, a Reuters analysis of government data showed. Renewable power output jumped 24.4% to 134.43 billion kilowatt-hours, kWh, for January to June 2025, according to a Reuters analysis of daily load dispatch data from the Federal Grid Regulator. The share of renewables, excluding hydropower, hit a record high of more than 17% in June. Coal-fired generation, still India's dominant electricity source, fell nearly 3% in the first half as overall power output growth slowed to 1.5%. Electricity output grew 5.8% in 2024.
Venezuela exported some 844,000 barrels per day, BPD, of crude and fuel in June, an 8% increase from the previous month as the loss of the U.S. and European markets was offset by more cargoes sent to China, according to shipping data and documents. Washington in late May terminated a group of licenses that had authorized partners of oil company PDVSA, including Chevron and Repsol, to take Venezuelan crude bound for U.S. and European refineries. The state firm has ramped up exports to Asia since, selling its crude and fuel through little-known intermediaries that make deals with independent refiners in China. Next, we have the top news in metal markets. Gold prices edged up on Wednesday as investors shifted their focus to the U.S. fiscal situation and lingering uncertainty ahead of the July 9 deadline when U.S. tariffs are set to take effect. Spot gold was up 0.1% at $3,342.04 per ounce at 10:25 GMT. U.S. gold futures were 0.1% higher at $3,352.80. The markets are again focused on the U.S. fiscal situation, and combined with uncertainty about the July 9 tariff deadline, these create fog for traders, who are directing flows towards safe haven assets like gold, said Ricardo Evangelista, senior analyst at brokerage firm Active Trades.
Iron ore futures climbed across all benchmarks on Wednesday as shipments from top exporters Australia and Brazil dropped, while an increase in hot metal output buoyed investor sentiment. The most traded September iron ore contract on China's Dalian Commodity Exchange ended daytime trade 1.69% higher at 722 yuan and 50 fen, $100.81, a metric ton. The benchmark August iron ore on the Singapore Exchange was up 1.82% at $94.09 a ton as of 0806 GMT. On the supply front, iron ore shipments from top producers Australia and Brazil have declined, and global iron ore shipments decreased slightly, broker Everbright Futures said in a note.
We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector.
India's palm oil imports soared to an 11-month high in June, driven by lower domestic inventories and a price discount to rival soy oil and sunflower oil that encouraged refiners to ramp up purchases, according to 5 dealers. Higher palm oil imports by India, the world's biggest buyer of vegetable oils, will help bring down stocks in top producers Indonesia and Malaysia and support benchmark Malaysian palm oil futures. Palm oil imports in June surged 61% month-on-month to 953,000 metric tons, the highest since July 2024, according to estimates from dealers.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.